Welcome back to Turnbuckle Trash Talk. We are having a very, very special interview today with Killer Instinct Johnny Knockout. Thank you so much for coming on with us today.
Thanks for having me, man.
I'll start off with a personal story. I first saw you at Full Throttle fighting Doug Sessa.
Fuck Doug says.
That's right.
And at that match, I thought, A, this guy is dangerous. B, this guy is violent. And C, he scares the shit out of me. I had not worked backstage with you. I hadn't even met you yet, but I saw you and I was like, this guy is terrifying.
Good.
Then, the next time I ran into you, the first time I actually met you was at Real Pro when you fought Vertigo.
Okay, yeah.
And I thought, A, this is the nicest guy in the world.
What? B, it gave me.
Hey, if you're on his good side, I should say that. If you're on his good side,
Don't listen to that.
B, I found you to be one of the most entertaining wrestlers I had met because
Thanks,
you
man.
commit fully to what you're doing. You brought a body bag, you had makeup, you were doing this whole like resurrection.
Face paint.
Yeah.
Face paint. My mistake.
yeah.
Sorry.
Makeup.
Face
This
paint.
guy already? I bring you a beer.
What can I say?
No respect.
Face paint, my mistake. You just had this whole idea fully fleshed out of what you were doing, and I'm sure that comes with experience, but also that comes with a really creative mind. And I think that is one of your greatest assets. I mean, we've worked several shows since, almost a year now. I think we've worked on various shows together, and I've
Guy's
seen
always
you.
busy.
I've seen, well, I try. I've seen you come out as the Grinch, which I thought was amazing, because it was like July when you came out or something like that.
Christmas in July.
I know, it was
Yeah.
fantastic. I've seen variations on your face paint
Yes.
and your character,
Just learning.
There it
and
is.
you bring a golf club bag with like spiked golf. It's just incredible. It really is, and I think it brings a whole nother element to the show. And I think that is just something that promoters, if you're watching, you need to book this guy because seriously, he does. He brings a whole new
He
element
could
to
literally
the show.
just walk to the ring and walk out.
It's true.
And it's gonna be all right because
true.
it just looks like some shit is about to go down.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh, shit.
You engage the audience. You really are good with the fans outside of the show, whether you're,
Yeah.
being aggressive with them or you're being friendly. You're really good with kids, which is something that's really.
I love the fans, and I love children in general. So,
Yeah.
I mean, this is for the ring. You know, don't worry, your kids are safe with me.
But you're not.
My opponents,
Not so
definitely
much.
not. And promoters should listen to him. Yeah, and if you don't contact me, I'll find you.
It's true. If you were watching our coverage of IPW, he told you he's gonna find you.
We got the Tampa Bay Police Department on standby right now, just in case.
Oh, I'm friends
you know?
with them. I was, just,
Yeah, so he's got it. He's
I
got
was
the
at the
connection.
police athletic league just over the weekend. It was great.
So those
And
are
Reggie
your
at the front desk, he has a big plaque of Titus O'Neil in the back with a World Heavyweight Championship. We're in good company.
There you go.
Nice.
There you go. So
I work with Titus too. I've done some charity work.
that's awesome.
Very nice.
But
Very nice.
don't get that mistaken for me being a nice guy.
Yeah.
So let's go back to when Little Johnny Knockout was roaming. When did you first discover wrestling? Like when did it catch your attention? When did you find that connection? Like what was the first wrestling thing you ever saw that you can remember?
Yeah, I guess I was a little Johnny back then. I was 4 years old, and I was watching Superstars on, I guess it was Sunday, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So my brother actually got me into it. He was like, get over here and watch this. And I saw Jake the Snake. He was the first guy I saw. And that's when they had like the little graphics or the tickers on the bottom where it was like they give the name of the guy and then their finishing maneuver,
Yep.
the height, weight. So I remember just my first memory was just like, what the hell is a dot?
Yeah.
It was the DDT, but I'm a dumb little kid. And
Right, yeah, you can't read
You
the
know.
soy and the fonts.
And so, yeah, that was my first memory, and ever since then, you had like the Tuesday in Texas with Undertaker and Hogan. I remember really believing that the Undertaker was dead. Hearing
Yeah.
stories that like the kids at ringside would touch him and his hands were like ice cold, and so I was really into it, man. I was big into Ultimate Warrior and Randy, Macho Man Savage. Yeah. Tito Santana, guy. Coffee in the big times.
He's obviously worked on that. That's pretty good.
That's a good one.
Yeah. Oh, thanks.
That's a good Macho Man.
Yeah, and so I just growing up, ever since the age of 4, I just never stopped watching it, and I was always inspired by these guys, and they were kind of like, I guess, bigger brothers on screen.
Right.
But I always saw like these big sweaty men, and it was just like, I love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
So what made you decide this is what you wanted to do? Like you know, there's that point. I think everybody reaches that point where they're like, that's what I'm doing. That's my life. What was it for you? What did that?
I really wanted to do something extraordinary with my life, and I'm a very creative guy. I was very inspired. I always liked being intense, working out, being bigger, and just feeling good. I was a fat kid growing up, and so like.
Still am.
That was me too. You don't want to know what I
No, you're not. I've seen the photos. You are not.
Over 13 hours of cardio this week alone. It's not easy to stay in shape, or get in shape. But yeah, I do like my ice cream and all that stuff. So.
There you go.
So I got to do all that stuff. But anyway, yeah, growing up, I was very creative. I do a lot of art, drawing, illustrating.
Well, clearly the face paint. Alone. I've seen you
Wow.
backstage. It is so
The makeup.
immaculate. The way you work on it. I'll see you backstage. And you'll work on it for a good half hour, putting that stuff on.
Yes,
But it looks amazing when you're done.
Thanks, man.
It is a work of art. But anyway, sorry. Continue.
That's cool. I started getting into body paint too, and I'll write little, depending on what my mood or my mindset or what kind of idea for the face paint I'll have. Like sometimes I'll write violence, or for instance with the Grinch, I wrote Grinch.
Yeah.
And so growing up I was a little overweight, and then wrestling inspired me to get in shape. And then once I got out of high school, I went to college of graphic arts, and it was like a combo class that they taught us commercial advertising with, and I liked it even more. I liked the advertising more, but I couldn't afford to stay in college, and I was making money, and I was like, you know what? But then I was like, I got to do something with my life, and I thought I had to be in love with something in order to just dedicate my entire life to it, which is kind of true, but I thought I had to have a feeling in my gut, and I don't know, so I kind of toyed with the idea for 5 years, and then I'm like, something, I am not getting any younger, so I remember I took up acting, and I was doing some background work, and I was on the set for a Spider-Man movie, and I just remember it was long days, and wasn't having any fun. I wasn't in the movie per se, so I was and the people were very cocky, and I'm like, you guys are just here in the background. You guys, I wanted to beat somebody up.
Yeah,
and I'm like, wrestling. Yes, let's do it. Where else can I be entertaining, and then my aggression could be celebrated? And from that day, I didn't go back to the set the next day, and I just got training at I found a school in Brooklyn. Gleason's Gym, with Hall of Famer Johnny Rods. I started out there, and I was just like, yeah, I'm doing it. It only lasts a couple months, just so you know.
Right.
I've gotten professionally trained with WWE.
I was actually going to bring that up next.
On the Florida Championship Wrestling with Steve Kern and Norman
nice.
Smiley. Just so the viewers know. Professionally trained. Nothing against Johnny Rods, great guy.
Yeah.
I learned more from him in his office, but verbally. Physically, it was the blind leading the blind there, and the guys were just not good. So I was just like, you know what? I put all my eggs in one basket. I left a lot behind, moved to Florida, $80 in my pocket. I found a job within 4 days. Just put up a note on the wall that said believe, and I just focused on it, and I got my training the right way.
So who were your biggest, who inspired you as a youth? You mentioned Jake the Snake, you mentioned Macho Man. Were there wrestlers that you were like, I want to be like that guy?
Oh, yeah.
That's the guy.
Jake the Snake was the first guy I saw growing up in wrestling now, and I'm still listening to his voice clips from shoot interviews, even up to yesterday. I passed it along with some of the guys so that, you can learn, because I've yet to meet him personally, but I'd love to meet him and talk with him.
Yeah.
Those guys, stood out to me, but as I got older, the dark mindset of Jake Roberts, I really take to now. But growing up, it was Bret Hart.
Right.
Oh, sure.
He was
Absolutely.
the epitome of doing the right thing. He was a class act. You know, he was for the people. He was the greatest technician as far as I'm concerned, and still feel the same.
Yeah, he was like a
way.
superhero, man,
Yeah,
back in
it's
the days.
excellence of execution.
Yeah.
He really lived up to his namesake. And then when I got into my adolescent years, like, you know, once I hit puberty, I'm still going through that.
I think we all
Facial
are.
hair's not fully growing.
I think we all are.
And it was Steve Austin, Stone Cold Steve Austin,
Yeah.
flipping everybody off. It's just like that guttural, like, killer instinct. Hint, hint.
Yep. Yep.
Steve Austin was just like the mark of rebellion, and I was like really felt that growing up. As I'm sure a lot of teenagers feel. And then as I was getting towards my older teenage years, it was Kane, because I was going through a lot of stuff in life growing up, and I related to his darkness. Like, I don't have to be 7 feet tall and 326
Absolutely
pounds
not,
or whatever
no.
to relate to him, but like, yeah, just I totally understand the whole behind the mask and feeling like you don't fit in, things like
Right.
that. So those are my 3 all-time favorites.
Well, Jake the Snake is definitely.
I've gotten to work with one of them, at least one of them. Yeah.
Which one?
Kane.
Nice.
I was choke slammed by him, but
Hey, still counts. It still counts.
I did my best.
That's right.
I actually got a warm embrace afterwards too. Not a lot
Awesome.
of people would know that about a guy like Kane, but yeah, I got a good bro hug from Kane.
He
That's
seems
awesome.
like the nicest.
He seems
guy,
like the
off
nicest
camera,
guy
man.
after.
Yeah.
We're not nice
guys. It's all the work.
So Jake is probably, in my mind, the greatest ring
He's my favorite.
psychologist.
Oh, yeah?
He's my favorite.
Yeah, the
Nice.
greatest ring psychologist in history. And I see that a lot in your work as well. I see ring psychology as one of your strong suits. You can look at the situation and decide, on the fly, this needs to be adjusted. That needs to be
Sure,
adjusted.
yeah.
We need to take some time to work the crowd. We need to, work a move a little stronger than we normally would, or longer than we normally would. And so I can see a lot of those Jake characteristics in you. So
Cool.
I think that's super cool.
Thanks, man.
And I can totally understand why he'd be a huge influence.
Well,
for
yeah,
you.
it's like you could see like the subtle, and it's not because Jake the Snake, man, he was just notorious for even like his promos, just subtle, just intensity. Didn't talk too much, but when he talked, it meant something.
Yeah,
So I tuned in immediately.
He was so loud despite talking so
Yes.
soft.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
I think that's a talent that just
Yeah.
is 1 in a million. Like, it's
Oh, yeah.
not.
It's one of the things she would mention, actually. He goes, as a young man, my father taught me, if you want to be heard, you don't need to shout.
No.
People will listen. If
Yeah.
you're serious in what you say, you don't need to raise your voice. So,
So let's
That's
fast forward ahead. You get
something that's lost on a lot of
Oh,
wrestlers.
yes.
Oh, hell yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Let's fast forward to you start training with WWE. What was that experience like? I mean, I'm sure it's completely different now with NXT and the Performance Center. What was it like to finally get involved with FCW, WWE? Tell us all about that.
Felt really like I felt at ease and comfortable, because they're all about respect. And the first day we were taught, we didn't get in the ring. We were told, number one, this company and Vince McMahon himself is looking for good people. Right away, I thought I was a shoo-in.
There you go.
But I was like, yeah, okay, cool. I like the fact that it's not just about. I mean, you get a lot of different personalities and things like that, and like a lot of colorful people. But at the end of the day, it's mostly about business and being good and being reliable, trustworthy. It's a multi-billion-dollar company and global franchise. So. So it was a great experience, because I knew I was with the best. I knew I was in a great company, and we learned fundamentals, which is really important. I mean, it's like the groundwork, the foundation that they were teaching you, because everything else from like intricate or details, it's kind of like drawing with broad strokes, and then you could put in the fine details on your own. But they taught you how to basically lay your foundation. So proper chain wrestling. Maneuvers, why you're doing things at a certain time. We had promos, like it was like a pop quiz. It was like, all right, everybody line up promos. Like, there was no planning for it. And
Well, because you need to. Wrestling's unpredictable.
Yeah.
You need to be able to just
They-
jump into it if you have to.
I did a tryout one time, and I waited like maybe a second. I like where you're going with this. I waited like a
Cheers,
literal
fellas.
split second until a kid was done with his question. Oh, excuse me.
All right.
I shot all over your
It's, hey, Steve Austin.
He did
You
stay
think he
strong,
complains?
Steve Austin.
Cheers,
fella.
cheers. Anyway, sorry to
So,
interrupt.
no,
Please
you're not
continue.
But Yeah, like talking about pop quiz promos and things like that. When I did one of the tryouts, and I literally, like, I waited, but they wanted us to ask questions. So I'm like, shoot, now I got to think of something to say. And I'm just listening, absorbing information. I literally waited like a split second till one kid was finished, and I jumped in for a question. And the kid got hot, and then one of the trainers was just like, "Oh, do you like interrupting people?" And I'm like, "Oh no, I get heat everywhere I go, no matter what I do." God, I'm like,
you can't make anyone happy.
You want me to ask questions? I'm trying to ask questions. So they picked on me, which was fine. You know, I used to that.
Yeah.
And it was like, all right, since you want to talk so much, I was like, okay. And like they wanted me to cut a promo on Earwax, and I knocked it out. I was just like, oh yeah, Earwax. Everybody thinks it's like a bad thing, but you know something? You're supposed to have that good bacteria in the ear, because sometimes bacteria is good. You clean all of it out, you know, you just basically subject to, you know, more bacteria that's probably not already built up with the earwax. And, you know, sometimes it doesn't land me a lot of dates or whatever, but I'm like, you know something, I'm a healthy guy. And then like they just looked at me and they were just like pissed, like I was
Yeah,
good.
you
Like,
got
I'm
it.
back.
You
I'm
got
like,
it.
nobody's gonna freaking put me on the spot and I'm not gonna be ready.
Yeah.
You kidding me? Yeah, so the
That's
girl
awesome.
were watching you. I'm like, good. I
Yeah.
want you to watch me.
Watch yourself, Earwax.
I think
Yeah.
that's such an important art, because I think that's something that gets lost on some of the more recent generations, is the art of the sporadic promo.
Yeah.
Like, you need to be able to cut a promo on Earwax.
Can't be
And
nervous.
now
Yeah.
people need to be told what to say, how to say it, when to say it, and I just think that that spontaneity of it is so
Yeah.
important.
Yeah.
I think nowadays people are just, you know, when money's involved too, or sponsorships or timing, everybody's concerned. We want to make sure, everybody wants that sense of control. Well, we want to make sure you're doing the right thing. I think, and I heard this recently, I listened to a lot of the interviews
Right.
from, you know, professional wrestlers or whatever. So I'll listen to like Cyrus and Lance Storm and all these guys, and on YouTube. YouTube's like my
Right.
favorite
Oh, for
thing,
sure.
favorite thing.
For sure.
And one of the guys, I think it was Disco Inferno, or whatever. It's like, guys, he's got a great mind for wrestling, man. And it's just like, guys got to be able. Where was I going with this? To be put on the spot and just go and man, I lost my train of thought. Damn, this is what I'm really like.
Spontaneity. Spontaneity
Yeah,
in the
yeah.
promo.
But it's just like being able to go and not being like lost in translation or anything like that. So for me, like I remember when the tryout didn't go my way and I didn't get signed. I'm thinking the only guy from the tryout, there was 63 of us that got signed, turned out, you know, to be Tyler Breeze actually.
Oh, right.
So it was like, you know, I wished him well, great, you know, good job or whatever. And then, but leaving the parking lot, I was lost. I was like, what the hell do I do now?
Right.
So I took what I learned. I actually moved back to New York, but I'm like, I gotta stay relevant and use what I learned and just get better. And so like I started. I think they're all on private now on my YouTube page, which by the way is youtube.com/TheRealJKO. Anyway,
Plug it one more time. Plug it one more time. That was too fast.
youtube.com/TheRealJKO. And if you don't go on, you could suck it.
That's right.
There you go.
But I started a webisode series called the JKO Reality. I think they're all on private, but I think I'll unprivate them. But they're like
Well, now
probably have
everybody's
like
gonna wanna see 'em.
135 or so episodes.
Oh shit.
But the thing was, what I wanted to do was just like get good at talking and, you know, get to the point where they couldn't deny me. You know, because I was pretty annoyed that I didn't get signed. I really thought I had a good chance at that time, and you know, it's timing too, man. So I got comfortable in front of the camera.
Right.
Like, you know, I'm not planning anything I'm saying. I didn't know what to expect. I like to do things on the fly because
Right.
I want it to be genuine
Yeah.
and sincere. And so being able to do that webisode series, I was just like, you know, this is going to be an unedited, you know, show,
Yeah.
like web show. The only thing I edited was like the pieces together. Like if I spent like hours filming, I cut, you know,
Oh,
certain
well, yeah,
pieces.
sure,
If
yeah.
I screwed up or said something, I'm like, screw it, I'm Johnny Knockout. I'm still pretty.
Well, that's how we do this show. We just
Yeah, we're
keep
still
going.
pretty. We just keep on going.
We just
Nice.
keep going.
But I'm like, you know, if it was meant to, you know, like right now, this is just real. It's reality. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? You know, I think that resonates with people too, because if everything's so prim and proper, and if it wasn't a word, I made it a word. I didn't care, and you know,
yeah.
it got me really comfortable to be in front of the camera. I think a lot of guys aren't comfortable like that because they don't put themselves out there, or they're too much in their own head, and
Right.
like you say about being able to be in the ring and just do it on
be
the
able to-
fly and stuff like that.
It's so unpredictable. Anything
Wrestling
can
is a
happen.
very reactive-based, entertainment-based, physical-based thing. Like, for instance, it's like a workout. If I go to train, okay, today I want to work out my back. Well, maybe I don't feel up to it, or maybe I'm just not into it. Why am I going to go through and go do the motions? I'm changing it up. I'm going to do shoulders today. You know why? God, I got a really freaking good pump now.
Yeah.
If I would have just stick to back and just did back
might have
because
felt
it
unfulfilled.
was back day, it wouldn't have been fun. So
Right.
what the hell is the point?
Right.
You know, we're on borrowed time, man. So I just go and have
true.
fun. But I'm also very, long-winded. So
No, and it's
No,
great.
hell no.
Actually, I appreciated when you were talking about being candid. We had a nice discussion about that after the IPW show. Because if you haven't seen it, we did a live stream. Johnny Knockout was a special guest on that live stream.
And there was free beer.
There
There
was
was
free
free
beer.
beer.
But we actually ended up being approached by a woman who was talking to us, not realizing we were filming,
Oh,
and we
yeah.
had to just be like, "We're filming," and we were fine with it. And you'd said you really liked how candid
Yeah,
it
he's a
was,
funny,
how real,
funny freaking guy.
how real that
Yeah.
moment
Both of these
was.
guys, yeah.
And I appreciate that too. And that's something that I think we like in wrestling is
Yeah.
when we can connect to and relate to the wrestlers. When I see wrestlers, quote unquote, screw up during a promo or something, I'm like, that's the real guy. For a
Yeah.
brief moment,
Yeah.
you get that.
Yeah, you
it's like
like
with
it.
your actors or your improv comedians, like
Yeah.
Saturday Night Live. When they screw up, that's when they get the most attention
Yeah.
because you're seeing a little bit past that, facade. And so I agree with you. I think it's awesome to get
Yeah.
that candid feeling.
Genuineness is is just key, man. And
Yeah.
art is imperfect. So I do a lot of drawing, or did a lot of a lot of.
Yeah.
I meant to do that.
It's happening.
Right.
It's happening.
Yeah.
Part of it.
Candid.
That's it.
That was a candid burp for you.
Hey,
guys.
hashtag team no self-respect. You know?
Yeah.
That's
Yes.
it.
No
Yes.
self-respect.
None.
Yeah.
There we go.
That's how the
It's a
kids
hashtag.
that's how the kids are
Hashtag.
doing it.
That's how the
Hashtag.
kids are doing it.
Hashtag free beer burps.
There you go.
For you. For you.
I'm not on Twitter, but you can go hashtag and put me on it.
So you're back in New York. Things with WWE didn't go as planned.
Didn't.
You're working, you're building, you're doing your series, you're
Oh, I
talking.
got fat when I went back. I got a little upset, and I got signed, so I just ate a lot, and I got chubs. I was Johnny Chub out. I remember, I was sitting in my car. Well, it wasn't my car, but I was going to a wrestling show to try to get booked, and just meeting with the owner and whatnot, and I had, these jeans, and I thought I was cool because I wear the ones with the rips in them, right? So I remember my fat coming through my leg, like, this is not like me. And I'm like, I feel like a fucking bratwurst.
Yes.
This
Yes.
is gross.
Yes.
I gotta do something. I'm like, enough. I was like, enough being all upset. And I was just on that cardio day in, day out. By the way, you gotta work out too, and, with weights. That's the best way to lose fat, build muscle, lean muscle, right?
Right.
But I was just doing straight cardio, so I was lean and flabby. Which looked horrible. My elbow pads didn't stay on me; they were falling up. So workouts first.
Yeah.
See how I go off the.
I like it. Hey, but you know what? It's
But
good
you're getting
information.
free
Yeah,
training.
Free advice,
right?
free training advice.
Yeah.
Anyway, go on.
But the heart was there, and the mind was in the right spot, and so I'm just busting my butt. Anyway, I ended up getting into really good shape again, and I built up a fan base. Tough Enough was coming out around that time. This was in 2011, so I don't know what's Tough Enough. It was probably like Tough Enough 17 or something. And there was they did it a non-traditional way. There was a website called realitywanted.com. WWE wasn't even, they were in it, but they had producers
Shit, I didn't know
at
that.
the front realm of getting, the exposure. So
Right.
it wasn't even WWE with the format.
Right.
They were just kind of like working hand in hand, letting them take the reins. So anyway, it was a website where anybody could sign up, wrestlers, and or even if you weren't a wrestler, you wanted to become one, right? I was number one on the list of like hundreds of people for a long time, and then other people started to catch on, and they started having other avenues. But I was coming from scratch, nothing, nobody. I didn't. It was my first couple of years in wrestling, and I remember being in New York and being in Manhattan, Times Square. I worked at a gym in the heart of Times Square called Mid City Gym. By the way, you can go in. It's on 42nd Street between 8th
This
and
man
9th.
is full of plugs.
There's
It's
a,
great.
There's a
Keep
6-foot
going.
poster of me up there because I'm Johnny Knockout.
That's
Anyway,
right.
You're
That's
Johnny
right.
Knockout.
You're not.
Yeah.
But I'm a nice guy. No, I'm not. But
There can only be one.
go check it out.
Yeah.
And so I used to hand out flyers and stuff. So I printed out flyers, and I used to, you know how they do the thing where at the bottom and you cut it off with your number and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like those little. So I used to hand out my website. Go to Reality Wanted. Go to YouTube.com, TheRealJKO. I would make little videos. I created a fan base from there, and that's how I actually got started, and that's how I got my name out there. I did everything on my own,
That's
and
awesome.
yeah, so.
So you're in New York, you're handing out your flyers, you're building up your fan base. What's next after that? How does it go from there?
Just basically just go, you know, just try new things. I was printing out flyers, putting out my name. I didn't just go out to the shows and just meet new fans. Like, I was in the heart of Times Square. I was like, you a wrestling fan? No, if you're not good, you could be one now. Maybe you just like being in the thing. Maybe you like to laugh. Maybe you like funny guys that just like to come up to you on the street and talk smack. I was like, come check out Johnny Knockout. I met a lot of fans that way, man. And having done an MTV reality show too, like, some people recognize me. Oh no, I'm a wrestler now. Go what, you know. So it was a lot of fun, and you know, I built up my fan base from there, and I just started getting booked. I remember a large group of people knew about me, and then their dad was a promoter, so they hired me, and I was able to like fly out different places. Then I flew out to LA for the Tough Enough. Didn't work out, but you know.
Oh, that's fine. Whatever.
That's the thing. It doesn't matter if it doesn't work out, because like it will eventually.
Well,
be another
it's not a journey if you don't have hurdles and obstacles to get around. Like, you got to keep going.
Michael Jordan didn't just become an overnight sensation.
No.
This guy got kicked out of his I guess it was in college or whatever, and you know, he didn't make the cut or whatever.
Right.
And he says, I never want to feel like that again. But he says his whole basis of success was by how many times he's failed.
Absolutely.
So Thomas Edison is one of my biggest inspirations. This guy has over 10,000 patents. You know how many times the guy had to fail just to create one invention?
Yeah.
Imagine having
Yeah.
10,000 patents.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Hell yeah. I don't even have $10,000. I don't know if that would do anything, but just in case, I'm broke. I'm broke.
But yeah, that's the point, is to have a good journey. You have to reach
We
your
all
obstacles.
might be
You
broke
have to.
now, but one day we won't be.
We will all have made it.
What did The Rock say? He had $7 in his pocket. Now
It's
he has
true.
a production company.
Because the production company is the highest paid
That's crazy.
actor
I at
in
least
Hollywood.
had 80 when I once
Sure, you were.
started. I
You
had
were
more than The Rock,
$73
so
ahead of the game.
maybe I'll have an $80 production.
Yeah, you're one step ahead of the game order.
There you go.
That's it.
There you go. Well, then we got to account for inflation too.
I
so.
got a lot of catching up to do to get to The Rock. But one day,
You mentioned that there
Smell
was
what I'm cooking?
You said that there was 63 other guys at
at the tryout, yeah.
Holy
and
shit, that's a
only
lot
one
of
got
guys.
signed. Yeah.
There's a lot of guys.
There's a lot of big names that went on to.
That's what I was gonna say. Is there anybody else that spread off and went to do
Yeah,
their
but
own?
we don't need to talk about them because.
No, we're talking about
No,
Johnny.
yeah,
Knockout.
that's what I'm saying. That was
We're talking about
Let
Johnny.
them get their own.
Forget the
yeah,
other
yeah,
guys.
Johnny Knockout. That's what
That's
we're
right. When
talking
they
about.
want to talk to us, they'll say, "I was in the same tryout as
Nah,
Johnny
you had
Knockout."
guys like Mr. Penis, Joey Rhymes,
There he is.
Robbie E. There's a guy who I wrestled and beat, by the way.
Facts.
That's right,
Facts.
Uh,
That's it.
Calling you out again.
Who'd you guys ever beat?
Yeah.
Yeah, a bunch of others. It was a bunch of others, and we had guest speakers every day. Cena, I think Cena was there. Yeah, he was there one day.
Right.
Beth Phoenix another day. We had Ryback was there one day, and yeah, man, it was. Oh, Jim Ross was there another day too. Oh my God, I remember he came in and. Man, for anybody that didn't have confidence, forget it. I'm sure they quit that day. Because he comes in, he's looking at us, he goes, there's like 63. He goes, you know, I've been watching. He goes, a lot of you guys should just pack it in. And girls, just, there is no future for you. He goes, and he goes, I see maybe 3 or 4 of you that may even make it, but I don't even think that you probably will ever go anywhere. And I'm like thinking, like, he's certainly sure as shit is not talking about me.
It's not me. He's talking about
he
the rest of these
he
guys.
winked at me. He winked at me.
He knew.
So
I was in that 3.
Yes.
I had a moment with him where it was just me and him, and I says, you know, what you said. No, I didn't do that. I was like, first of all, it's great meeting you, and I appreciate what you had to say. And I'm like, I understand what you said, and I know that would be a lot of guys would probably turn tail, you know, tuck tail and leave. I'm like,
Yeah.
but I appreciate you being so honest and it probably is like a moment where a lot of people would put up or shut up. And I'm like, so I'm willing to just keep going, but I appreciate what you had to say. You know, and I was like, hey, great to meet you.
And that's the point.
Yeah.
That's the point. Again, like we just said, you need that obstacle to show that you have the strength to get over or around or through it.
Some people
keep
see
going.
a
Some
wall
people just stop.
and they go, oh,
That's it.
Well, there it
what am I
goes.
gonna do?
That was my shot.
Some people go, well, I'm going to go find a ladder, climb over this wall.
Exactly.
Oh, I can't find a ladder. I'm going to throw
Sledgehammer.
yeah.
I'm just gonna start beating on it with my hands until it breaks.
Yeah, I mean, look at a movie like The Shawshank Redemption. That guy spent
Exactly.
years upon years to get out of there, you know what I mean? So
No,
when
and that's a
there's
perfect example.
when there's a will, there's a way, man.
So you're in New York. You've built up your fan base. How do you end up winding up on TV? I mean, WWE obviously took a second look at you and decided, let's bring you in, let's have you in these matches. You've worked Raw, you've worked SmackDown, and you've worked their version of ECW. I mean, that's 3 opportunities that most guys only dream of getting. How did that happen?
Well, I've been working with WWE. By the way, I created my own working relationship with them. It was just based on myself calling their office, finding out about talent relations, finding out. I had to go through several different talent relations guys. As soon as I started getting good with one of the talent relations guys, guess what? They got released. I had to start
find
from
another
scratch
one.
again. But most people would just, give up. I'm not a quitter, I actually have a tank top that I wore to the gym the other day. It says, I could stop eating chocolate, but I'm not a quitter.
That's
You know?
right.
That's how much
That's
of a
right.
quitter I'm not.
There you go.
Love chocolate.
All the way down to the chocolate.
Chocolate.
So,
But
yeah, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I just, there was a period where, so I had gotten work, my first time ever working with WWE, it was in Madison Square Garden. I believe I was 24, it was my first year wrestling. I worked with The Undertaker, I was one of the druids, the most handsome druid, by the way.
That was near home too, so that's
lead
kind of cool.
druid. Yeah, it was awesome. And then that was the ECW was the next day, because that's when SmackDown and ECW was running after SmackDown. So I did a SmackDown backstage skit with Rey Mysterio, and then I did a match on ECW versus Lance Archer, who back then was Vance Archer. And it was great. And then I went for a period of 3 years where I didn't work with him. It was really heartbreaking. I'm like, is that it? Is that the end of my career? Oh my God. I would call the office and just, get in contact. If it wasn't the talent relations, it was the secretary of talent relations. What do I got to do? I'm like, really, it's like a Reese's. There's no right or wrong way to eat a Reese's, right?
Right.
So you
Just gotta keep pushing.
So I did. I just kept plugging away until I finally got another opportunity, and it was very liberating for me. The fact that it was just breaking through a barrier, like you say, finding a hurdle and jumping over the hurdle. So it took quite a few attempts, but I just kept at it. And then I started traveling with Ring of Honor, and then went from Matt Stryker being in the office and talent relations, and then now it's well, you guys go figure out who was in talent relations. I'm tired.
He's not gonna give away all the
Yeah,
industry secrets.
I can't
You gotta
tell
save some of the strategy
I
and the
honestly-
You're
mystique.
giving it up way
I
too
honestly
much.
can't. I couldn't tell you how many times I could tell you, but I'm not going to. But so many guys I've helped get work. Not that I got them to work. I'm just saying.
But you
I
put
gave
in the
them
word. You
the
gave them
direction.
I gave them the
advice.
cheat. Here's what the kids would understand. I gave them the cheat codes.
There you
Down,
go.
up, down,
There
right,
you
left,
go.
right, A, B, B, or whatever that is.
Yes.
The contra password. I gave them the contra password, the fast lane into WWE talent relations. And you know what? All the people I did, not even so much as a thank you. So suck it. You're not getting any more information.
How do you not thank this man?
I
Seriously.
never even got a thank you.
That's ridiculous.
No.
So,
Yeah.
what brought you back to Florida? I mean, of the places you could go, I think you have been at the best wrestling meccas, with that being
Yeah.
New York and Florida. Philadelphia could also be included in there, but those 3 spots, I mean, you've been
Listen,
in 2 of them.
I
What
like-
brought you back?
I grew up in New York. I'll always have love for New York. I romanticize about it. Sometimes I'll see it on television, but that's where it ends. Going back, it was honestly the worst 4 years of my life. But it was also, in the same realm, the best 4 years of my life, because I learned so much about what I don't want in my life, and I learned so much about becoming a stronger person. I went through a lot of garbage being in New York, a lot of learning experiences. And I had the constant battle after battle. I'm like, you know what? There's more to life than just fighting all the time. And I felt like I was just existing, paying rent, overpriced rent and overpriced on food and everything. I'm like, there's got to be more enjoyment. I had experience with Florida. I wanted to come back. I'm like, why not? I used to see a guy on the way to work every morning in New York, and I'd be like, hey, how you doing, man? Oh, good. How another day in paradise. And that always I would laugh, but it always stuck out to me. This guy is fucking miserable.
Yeah.
What are you, like, you're taking a beautiful line like another day in paradise. Like, I'm just happy to be alive. I love life.
Yeah.
So it's what you make it. So I'm like, dude, you like own this restaurant right around the corner. I don't own a restaurant.
Yeah.
I'm like, you got to look at the positive. So I'm like, I got to get out of here. I'm paying all this money just to survive, and I'm like, I'm not thriving. I'm surviving and not thriving. I'm not doing that. So Florida.
Well, I think that's one of the biggest mistakes people make in life in general.
Yeah.
Is that they think they have to survive.
Yeah,
that they can't thrive. That they just have to survive, and that's a huge mistake.
I'm like, obviously I could cover the rent and I can eat, but I'm like, why not go to a place where it's like half the rent of New York, food is half price compared to New York.
The weather's better.
And the beautiful weather. I remember my last day or days in New York. It was like 14 degrees. I put on 4 layers, and I'm going to work for like 12, 13-hour days, and I'm just like, motherfucker, and it's the whole way to work.
Holy
like,
shit.
I still feel it. I'm like, no more. And I had an opportunity to get to Florida, and I just took it. And I says, you know what? I'm not going for wrestling. I'm not going for anything. I'm going for happiness. I want to move to Florida. I just want to be happy and be free and be away from all this BS that I'm actually just having to deal with. I don't have to deal with it. I can just go. I crossed all my I's and dotted all my T's, and I left.
Well, and you made a great choice because the money and the wrestling is also here.
Well, you want to hear something great too? As soon as I come back, within 2 weeks, like I said, I just moved for happiness. I was relaxed. I felt comfortable. I was able to breathe. And I was just like, like I gasped, like sigh of relief, And then under 2 weeks, I get a contact from WWE that I'm part of their tryout. And I was just like,
So that worked
come
out.
here for wrestling. I mean, of course, I'm going to wrestle, but I was just like, look
You save
at
money on the
that.
ticket.
But that's the thing. If you put a positive, if you just be positive, like, I mean, stuff's gonna happen. If I was negative about everything, I'm sure as shit I wasn't gonna get
One,
it.
if you're doing what's best for yourself, the rest of the world takes notice.
Yeah.
They see, you put out a better you to the world when you do take care of yourself, when you do make those
People
decisions.
notice. Trust me, they notice.
You say
even if you don't think they do.
When you started the whole process, even being in contact with like WWE and what have you, you mentioned your brother was the one who put you on. Did you let him know and all that stuff? How do you feel about it?
About what? Tryout?
About you being in
involved
wrestling.
with
if you-
WWE and all
Oh,
that
he loved
stuff?
it. He wanted to be my manager. He was my manager for a couple. He's the Marvelous Menace.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
He's in New York?
He's in New York. Yeah.
God bless him. God
Yeah,
bless
he
him.
works with the city.
Nice.
He's a good dude.
Right.
Good man too. He, if he was sitting here, you could call him a nice guy, because he's a nice guy. Sometimes, if I'm hanging with him and we're in public or whatever, he's such a good person to people. Like, I almost feel like I have to be nasty just to even get
Balance
out.
him out.
I'm like, those
Even
aren't
this-
fucking nice shoes.
The Knockout Brothers, you got the nice one and the mean one. There you
Good
go.
cop, bad cop. That's
There you
it.
go.
It's just like I have no problem being good, but he's just so like naturally good. I'm just like, I gotta screw this up.
But somehow I gotta mess it up for him.
So now you've been in Florida for a while.
Yeah.
I've seen you
Over 40
bouncing
years.
all over the country. I've seen you up in Chicago for a few shows. I've seen you down here in Florida. Where are you going with this? It
Chicago.
seems like you're-
Last time I was in Chicago was with Ring of Honor.
Was it?
Chicago Ridge, yeah.
Oh.
You've seen somebody else that
Maybe Boston.
giving them.
You were up in the Northeast somewhere for a few shows.
You were out of Florida.
I remember you were out of Florida because I saw the videos on your Facebook.
Oh, okay.
We do what we can.
I know it was you.
We do what we can.
I follow you very closely.
Unless it's some really good-looking doppelganger. You lucky bastard.
But I mean, you're working these great shows. I've seen you carry a couple of belts down here even in the past year.
Titles.
Titles.
Let's talk about titles.
Not belts.
Titles.
I'm wearing a belt.
Titles.
That's a belt.
Yes.
Title is a whole different
Titles.
story. When you're world heavyweight champion, it's a title. It's not just a belt. Come on, Ken.
That's right.
I'm sorry. I'm just getting
Wait till we get
me with the makeup, with the belts.
face paint.
Face
Oh
paint.
God.
No, I'm saying everything.
Debbie, take care of
He's
this
in
guy.
the-
You see me, Debbie? Yes, I want some cookies too.
He's gonna go into cardiac arrest, this man, if you say makeup one more time.
I'm not gonna.
Jesus.
It's done. I'm just saying. It's an example of how I get these terms wrong. So, what's coming up?
And I brought you a beer.
I know. Maybe that's it. Maybe that's what it is.
He doesn't drink much.
Dude, you only had half a beer.
That's all it takes for this guy.
It's us, yeah, whole lightweight. So you're in Florida now.
Yep.
You're working with several different companies.
And apparently I've been in Chicago.
We've been to Chicago.
You were somewhere in the Northeast.
I want to be back
swear
in
it was
Chicago.
Chicago, give him a buzz. That's it.
Maybe
Call
it was
him.
New York. I don't know. I saw a video of you somewhere up there.
All over the place. I'm like a chameleon.
Everywhere.
That's a terrible macho.
I'm not a
Why'd
good
you do that?
impersonation.
Don't-
I got a
I
good
tried.
Dusty. That's what I've got
I have
going.
a really,
right?
really good Ric Flair impression. Very, very
Do
hard
it.
to do a Ric
So-
Flair.
Do it.
You're in
On the
shit.
spot.
Let's go.
Do re show me up. Woo.
There it is.
Yeah!
Yeah. Nailed it.
Where did it go?
That was a
Nailed
tribute.
it.
That was a tribute to my buddy Wayne Van
I,
Dyke.
I wasn't even ready.
That was a tribute to my buddy Wayne Van
Gotta pay
Dyke.
attention.
God rest his soul. He had. It's not easy to do a Ric Flair. You don't see people
No,
doing a
yeah,
Ric Flair.
that's like your.
Yeah, but I mean, you've seen Jay Lethal, Black Machismo,
Yeah.
right? Do the Ric Flair. I'm telling you, Wayne Van Dyke was better.
Yeah, I have.
Better.
Everyone talks about him, but
And-
I never met the
I
guy.
never
But
got the
everybody
chance.
loves him, man.
Well, I have a video. If you go on YouTube.com, The Real JKO, you'll see it's called Road Warriors. I had a few, like I tried to take that JKO reality thing. And anyway, I did one with Wayne, and it was called $2 Million. Such a spot on Ric Flair impression. I was like so taken aback, and impressed.
Yeah.
And I was filming him randomly, and you talk about putting cameras on guys like wrestlers when they're not ready.
Candid.
He was so shy. And like he would mess with me too. He started warming up. And I'm like, do your Ric Flair impression. He goes, ooh. I'm like, you mother. I'm like, it was the best I've ever seen. He totally ribbed me. He wouldn't show anybody.
Yeah.
I wish I would have got that on tape.
Oh,
I'm
Lord.
telling you, it was better than Ric Flair's.
That's right. And Ric Flair doesn't even know that.
And Ric Flair is Ric Flair. And it
That's
was
right.
better. He was like, little lady. And he's cut this whole promo, and I'm like, holy shit.
That's like an agitated voice you need from him, because Ric Flair's like just
Yeah, it's somewhere like back
piss
here.
and vinegar.
Yeah,
he's fired up.
screaming the whole time. Because Macho Man's actually was at
By the way, I shared the lunch line with the Nature Boy, and you didn't. Woo!
a little louder.
What a gentleman, by the way. At NXT, like this is when Charlotte, he was visiting his daughter, so this is when she was still with the NXT at the time, and so like they're at makeup. That's the makeup time, not the face paint, but they had like the setup for the makeup, whatever. So he's sitting there with his daughter and whatnot, and I come in, and this guy gets up out of his seat to shake my hand. I was like, in wrestling we're taught like you be the nicest guy in the room, get to the person first, and sometimes it's a competition. Like, no, I'm the best. I'm a good guy.
No, I'm the next.
So he got up, and I'm like, this is Ric freaking Flair, man. Like, this is wow. So what a gentleman. Like, really cool.
If I could tell you a story about Ric Flair, when Hogans Beach opened up here in
I
Clearwater.
want to knee drop my jacket right now.
Shit. So we go in. I had a friend who was really good friends with one of the Bushwhackers, right? Mm-hmm. So it was like a New Year's Eve deal for that the opening for Hogans Beach, right? So my buddy was like, "You love wrestling, right?" And I was like, "Dude, I love wrestling, man." He was like, "What if I told you I can get you into like where it's just family members and friends of like all the wrestlers?" Yeah. And you call bullshit on all these guys who said that they know wrestlers or whatever. So we're out and about, just walking outside, and he comes up to me. He's like, "Isaiah, come with me." And I'm like, "All right, where we going?" And he's like, just come with me." So we walk and we go, and we see two bodyguards standing outside the door, and he's like, he's with me. And that's when Bushwhacker, I think it was Luke, walks, and he walks with him. He says hi to him, Sam, shout out to Sam. And then Sam says, "Isaiah, follow me." And I walk in, and all the guys, like, I get starstruck immediately. Like, he's like, "Isaiah, you got to keep it together, baby. You got to keep it together, I was like, okay.
80s wrestling lady. Keep it together, baby.
So
on, Daddy.
I walk in, and my brother-in-law happened to tag along with me. So when we walk in, we didn't know where to go, what to do, because I thought seats were like assigned seats type of shit. Mm-hmm. So we walk, and we just like wallflowered up, just lean up against the wall, foot on the wall type of thing, like we're two cool dudes, Mm-hmm. So I'm talking to, it was Austin Aries, and we were just shooting the shit. I'm getting real comfortable real quick.
Yeah.
So then my brother-in-law comes from around me. In front of me is sitting Ric Flair. Ric Flair gets up to go do something. I forgot what it was. My brother-in-law tries to squeeze in front of me, and he squeezes, and he steps on Ric Flair's jacket, and all you hear is a tear.
Oh, no.
And I'm like, you just ripped Ric Flair's jacket, you asshole.
Oh, no.
And he's like, who? And I was like, Ric Flair. He's like, holy shit, what do we do? So I'm sitting there, I'm panicked or whatever. And I think Austin Aries knew what was going down, but he didn't say anything. So we just like, I told my buddy Sam, I was like, Sam, we just ripped Ric Flair's jacket. And he's like, no, you didn't. He's like, yeah, we did. So immediately we left. That was it. We had to leave. Because I'm not going to like,
What?
I can't afford that jacket, Johnny. I can't.
It's on tape, Mr. Flair.
No, it wasn't me. It was him.
You're going to get knee dropped and chopped.
Woo!
I have no good Ric Flair stories other than I was in the
You know
same
the whole
building
term
as
guilty
him.
by association, right? Can we cut that?
Yeah.
I was in the same building as him when he was doing a signing at a Ring of Honor show. That's the only Ric Flair story I have, unfortunately.
You guys shared the same building. That's close
You
enough.
should have just told him. He
shared
probably
the same
would
air.
have just been cool and bought you a cocktail. The guy's the man.
Oh, shit, you're right. We caught him. damn it. See what happens when you
See,
go
you
like,
missed an opportunity
He'd be like,
Jacket.
because of fear. You
You'd be like,
reached
Jack, you know
that
how
wall
many? Be like,
and you
brother,
turned
you know
around
how
and
many of
ran
these
the
I
other way.
have?
Damn.
Yeah.
There was
I
that
should've-
wall. We were talking about that wall this whole
Should've
time.
told-
You
Sorry,
reached
Rick.
that wall, turned around, walked the other way.
I almost chopped my brother-in-law. I was going to chop the shit out of him just for doing that, you know? But I was like, I have to go. I can't afford that jacket. God knows how much that jacket costs.
True.
How would you have felt if, like, you took off, like, your biker vest and somebody ripped that?
I'd be pissed. I'll fight him.
But you wouldn't know because they would have
You
walked
wouldn't
ran
know
away.
who did it.
Yeah, you're right. They're pieces of
You
shit.
just walk up and see your vest all destroyed.
This is not about me. Johnny Knockout. So obviously,
I'm telling Ric Flair.
we're gonna edit that out. We'll cut that out. He will never know. No harm,
We
no
actually
foul.
won't cut that out.
That's
We don't
it.
actually
We
edit
can't-
anything out, really.
Shit.
Well, I
Damn.
like to do things.
That's right. Raw.
Unedited, uncensored.
That's
So,
right.
Raw.
Now let's look ahead. We've gotten from the past. We're at the present. Let's look to the future.
You
What
got a
is?
present for me?
You just said it, not me.
Yeah, why not? We got a present for you.
There we go.
What's in the future for Johnny Knockout? What's coming up? What are you looking forward to? What are you striving towards? What path are you still going down in hopes of achieving?
Don't like the word hope. I
Yeah.
just...
Goal.
Yeah.
Drive.
I just want it all. You know? Excess to sex and much success. Stress sucks. I want it all, no less. So come on. It was actually a SmackDown song.
Shit, that was pretty good. I thought you really.
Tie-in.
I thought that was off the top of your dome.
Yeah, John Cena ain't got nothing on me.
There you go.
No, I just want to be the absolute best that I can be. I want to just constantly get booked. I had somebody in the locker room the other day say, "Man, everywhere I go, I'm seeing you." I'm like, I got pretty fortunate the last couple of weeks. You know, I'm wrestling much more, and I just want that to continue. You know, I want to be wrestling 5 days a week. That's why I want to get a contract with WWE. Or anywhere for that matter. There's a lot of companies on the rise right now.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of companies on the rise right now, and
You need backstage people too. I mean.
Yeah, I'll be with. I used to travel around with Ring of Honor, and part of ring crews, like a young boy, and have some buddies there. I'm actually going to go visit them, and they'll be here in Florida this Saturday. And just anywhere and everywhere. I mean, even if it's just like local shows or whatnot, I just love to wrestle, man.
Do you have any interest in going overseas? Japan?
Absolutely, yeah.
Europe?
style. Yeah. There it is.
Honestly, man, I got into a ring. Got in the ring with a guy one time, and over 400 pounds. You can watch the video on YouTube.com. The real JKO. And it's back when I had the short hair, and he wanted to shake my hand, just smacked him across his face. Anyway, but we had a good match, and he's way overweight and stuff like that. But the bottom line is, when he came to the back, I didn't find out till like later, a couple weeks later, something like that. The guy was just like, he was just like, man, he was hard to keep up with. He's just so much energy. He goes, yeah, well, that's what happens when you're in the ring with a real athlete. The guy told him. And, I take care of the guys I work with, obviously. I'm there to win. But, the guy, I think, had a personal problem within himself where he was just like, man, I didn't keep up. So he wanted to prove something to himself and the guy tried to shoot on me in the ring. And just really let the blows come. And I remember he was online saying some stuff, and I caught wind of it. Like, oh, I'm gonna kick his ass. I'm like, all right. So there's one thing to cut promos. Some guys will take the opportunity to try to state their real feelings. Oh, it's just a work, brother. I'm not an idiot. Look,
no, there's a very clear delineation of we're talking about being in the ring, and we're talking about
don't make a fool of me. I do a good job of that myself, okay? As Bobby Heenan would say. So I caught him in the locker room, and I'm just like, hey man, I saw what you said on the computer. Oh, I was just kidding. I'm like, no, you weren't. I'm like, but I tell you what, if that's how you really feel, we can deal with it when we get out there.
Let's do something about it.
Yeah. And he goes, I'm like, because I promise you, I guarantee you, you may think you're close to 500 pounds, right? And you think you can take me. I'm like, you give me one shot and I don't appreciate it, I'm going to hurt you. And I'm not kidding, I told him. So I'm like, don't worry, you don't have to read between the lines with me. I'll tell you straight up. You know, it's not left, right, it's just straight ahead for me, you know what I mean?
And that was, you guys were working in matches?
Yeah, it's like, I'm not a big fan of hip-hop, right? If it was Eminem and whatnot, not the candies, although I love the peanut ones. But the only rap I'll listen to is, besides Busta Rhymes, is Eminem. You see how I go off on tangents? But anyway, Jay-Z once said in his song, he goes, you know, I saw the fork in the road and went straight, because I'm a renegade, you know what I mean? So like, and so I told the kid, we go out there, I'm like, I'm gonna hurt you if you try to mess with me. So he gave me some shots or whatever, and he was all cool. But he wanted to prove to himself because he took it to heart that he couldn't keep up with me. That's not my fault.
It's a personal problem.
I put in the work.
That's what you put in the work to overcome.
Somebody on my the Facebook the other day was Facebook.com, the real JKO, by the way. And she, you know, I put up a post about having surpassed my 10 hours of cardio for the week that I wanted to do, and she goes, man, I wish I had your willpower. I'm like, you do. I'm like,
just gotta use it.
Get it, you know, make a goal and set out and achieve it. It's that simple.
Yeah.
You gotta have the want. So the kid could have been just like you know, well, not like me, but you know, he could have worked hard too.
It's possible.
And he just wanted to prove something to himself, so he took a couple of free shots at me because, you know, he just tried to take advantage of me. And man, I lit him up so. But you talk about strong style in Japan. This is where I was leading to, by the way. And like, you can't do that every night.
No.
Like, holy shit.
I don't know how they do it.
Like, well, look at the guy Shibata with his headbutts. I hear like he's done, right?
Yeah.
And like, yeah, I mean, you can only headbutt somebody so
many times,
and like,
and they were stiff,
which is great, but I want what's called, you know, longevity.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah,
I throw headbutts, but you know, sparingly. I pick my spots.
That's right.
So one of the most fascinating conversations I have with people
Love the
is
headbutt. By the way.
Yes.
Not enough being done.
kind of a state of wrestling. Do you believe you've seen several states of wrestling in your career since 2007? What do you think state we are in? Are we in a boom or are we in a lull right now? What would you say the state of wrestling as a whole is?
As Kofi Kingston would say, boom, boom, boom. Bootios. I've had some real bootios straight from
Straight from the box?
Kofi himself. Yeah, he's walking around backstage with it. And I'm like, get out of here with that. I'm like, bootios. I'm thinking like it's like a goof.
Are they like chocolate or are they just wheat cereal?
Like, imagine Lucky Charms, but with like the marshmallows being like unicorns and like well, I guess they have the the rainbow and stuff, right?
So they're wonderful.
Oh, they're magically touched. But no, I thought he was joking with me because I'm like, you don't really have, it's just in the box. There's no, I'm like, what do you got in there, Lucky Charms? He goes, oh, okay. Like I was turning him down. And then like, I'm like, I don't want to put my dirty, I'm shaking everybody's hand, I'll put my hand there, just put some in my hand. I'm like, all right, come. He puts some in my hand. I see a fucking marshmallow unicorn. I'm like, holy shit!
They're real!
This is the real thing?
It's the full deal.
They took a whole fistful, popped him in. I'm like, Kofi, look at this shit. I'm like, it's working. I started like shaking.
They were like $60 a box. That would have bought
That's just funny.
Really?
They were really expensive to get.
So I remember my buddy, he would buy his daughter the box because the T-shirt comes in the box with no cereal, right? But now they have the cereal, whatever. But anyway, that night when I went back, I was staying with him at his place. I was visiting in New York to do the show. It was at the Barclays, and I was just like, "Hey, Juliana, his daughter." I'm like, "I ate some real bootios, and you didn't."
No,
Bad
man,
Natural born heel.
bad man.
That's right, you little brat.
Did you? Did you do one of those too? I would have done it. I would have just
Oh,
followed
I did
up
that.
with those.
I did that to a few kids last Thursday. I was very
That's
proud
a
of them.
classic. That's
yeah,
the
they were
classic.
like, "Oh, hey, Johnny," come running up to me, and I'm surprised with the freaking Killer Instinct mask on, which
Yeah,
by the
not
way
afraid.
are for sale for $15. And handcrafted by me personally.
That's
But
right.
anyway, I'm coming out and they're not even scared. I'm just like, "Oh, Johnny," and I was just like, I want to put my hand out like that, and I just went to the back.
Got him.
Get away from me.
That's right.
Yeah. Kids.
So what shows do you got coming up this week?
I'm glad you asked because on the 16th of February, by the way, it's February.
Yeah, no one knows how to
No, I know.
pronounce
Nobody
that
can
word.
pronounce
So
it.
you with
Yeah.
me on that?
Yeah.
You know what it was? My kid was trying to
do?
spell it out
Oh,
on the
yeah.
calendar, and I was like, "What are you?
Do
an
you
idiot? don't know how
respect
to spell it?"
speech?
Yeah.
Huh?
Ah,
February.
Hey, woo!
February. Now you know how to say it right.
Give me a
If you
jacket.
don't,
Give me
you're
a
gonna
jacket.
be charged double for my masks.
Double or nothing, baby. That's it.
And okay, so February
Yeah.
the 16th. I'll
Special code for Johnny's masks. Come up and say February, and you can get it at regular price.
Yep. Regular price. If you say it wrong,
$15.
you're getting charged more.
There you go.
Right.
Just for the fact that you're hurting my ears.
That's correct.
Anyway, shows coming out February 16th.
February the 16th, I'll actually be hosting a seminar in Eustis, Florida for Lake County Championship Wrestling.
Okay.
And it'll be a few hours, 12 to 3, I believe. Anyway, it's on my Facebook page, facebook.com, The Real JKO, or Instagram.com, Rebel JKO. And I'm sure there'll be a graphic at the end.
Sure.
Yeah, yeah,
Certainly.
we'll put it
Certainly, we are professionals.
Yeah,
I'll be right here.
professionals.
We are
To the
professionals.
Yeah.
T, to the T, man.
Hey.
And so I'll be hosting a seminar for a
Nice.
few hours. Oh man, I'm gonna whoop their asses.
Yes.
And at least 5 of the guys will have a spot on the show. So we're only working with wrestlers and students,
That's
people
cool.
that want to learn, and not just some rookie off the street, because we don't want people in there getting hurt. Trust me, they're gonna have to deal enough with me. By the way, when they get in the ring with
Are you
me.
gonna run a gauntlet match against all of them?
Oh, I'm actually on a 5-on-5 that night, a hardcore match. So it's gonna be a flush the cluck, and but it's gonna be a lot of weapons. Fans bring their own weapons.
Hey!
You guys can check out Lake County Championship Wrestling on Facebook and find out all the details.
I've seen
It's
a
at
lot
the
of their
Learning
work,
Curve
man.
Academy in Eustis. They're a new company,
But they've been doing some
newly
good things. They've been
managed
keeping-
company,
Yeah.
and so bought out from the old owners.
We're going to try to attend one of their shows eventually.
Yeah, yeah. I was seeing like their graphics alone and stuff.
I'll be with Ring of Honor this Saturday on the 9th of February.
February. Get it together.
I'll be making my debut with Ocala Championship Wrestling on February 23rd. I think that's what I can think of right now. I'll be working with World Extreme Wrestling with the Wild Samoans, Pops, Alpha. And I noticed you guys mentioned that I worked with Vertigo in the past, so I'll be looking to finally get him in my body bag at some point, because I don't know how he did it, but he got me. And
got
he's
you
the only
in the body
person that's
bag.
ever done it. Yeah.
He's like-
I was there.
He's like
I
an
was
original
there.
Houdini, huh?
Yeah, he got me in my body bag, but look, how do you know I didn't want that?
It was part of your plan.
It was all part of the plan. Well, it was the rebirth of Johnny Knockett. I remember that match.
Listen, you can ask any girl that's ever dated me. I'm a little bit of a pervert, so I kind of wanted to be in the body bag. But if you go to the YouTube.com, The Real JKO, you'll see my match versus Vertigo, and I was in a killer mindset,
Yeah.
And so you'll just watch the rest of the match. At the end, I don't want to ruin it for you, but needless to say, when you see the culmination of the match, I think it's fair to say that I wanted to be in that body bag. But I also want to get Vertigo in it at some point. And then maybe his vertigo he'll have vertigo because he'll be all off. Oh God, I was just in a body bag. What am I going to do?
Vertigo's not even a real thing. Vertigo's not even a real thing. No one's got vertigo. Who's got vertigo?
It's the thing.
You're just unbalanced.
It's your brain water.
Oh, he'll blame it on the buzz. on the
Yeah,
beer.
no.
But, yeah.
Anyway, keep up.
Vertigo the wrestler is a real thing.
Yes,
I'm going to get you.
Keep up with Johnny Knockout.
Body
Check
bag.
him out on all those social media links we've mentioned. We'll also have a graphic for this. But check him out. He's
Yep.
always posting great stuff.
Thanks.
Great
I
promos,
agree.
great pictures.
Thank you.
Just great content constantly. You can see his upcoming shows. Go to that seminar.
Even
Check him out. I'm sure it's not going to just
Tony
be in
the
ring.
Tiger has visited my websites, and you know what he feels? He feels it's great.
No pun intended.
No.
None.
Oh, there is a pun intended.
Oh,
We
all
claim
puns
no
intended.
copyright to that either.
That's why I did that.
So the Tiger thing.
Oh, that guy's dead anyway.
Yeah, he's gone.
He's
They
not
don't even
gonna
promote
work.
him no more.
Sorry, that guy was a pretty cool announcer for WCW too. But yes, he is dead. I told you at the beginning of this interview, we're on borrowed time. Go out
Yeah.
and have fun.
It's
Yes.
true.
And
It's true.
Eat your Frosted Flakes.
Well, check out the seminar.
They're
If
great.
you're not a fan of Johnny Knockout, you will be.
See, I gave it back.
Check out his
I
videos.
gave them
check,
publicity too.
check out his matches. Check out his photos. All the content he's posting. He's really great.
Check out my photos
All of
and
them.
all my face paint.
It's true.
It's not the makeup.
And he's an inspiration to anyone out there.
Did you guys? By the way, I brought you gifts. Did you get one of these? Did you guys get it? Gotcha.
You know,
realize
yes!
Anyway, Johnny, thank you so much
Thank
for
you,
joining
man.
us, man. It's a
been awesome.
pleasure.
Yes.
Thank you so much
Yes.
for having me.
Of course.
We'll have you
of course.
back again.
The pleasure has been all yours. And,
Always.
Has been.
Always.
Absolutely.
It's been a real
Always.
pleasure.
It's always our pleasure.
It's been a real pleasure, man.
Yes.
So
Yeah,
thank you.
we'll definitely keep up and we got to kill whatever we got left in these.
That's true.
That's it. Do it
I
for
like
the
that. The
views.
kill. I mean, come on.
You
Killer
see that?
Instinct. We gotta kill these beers.
That's
right.
it, fellas.
This has been our interview with Johnny Knockout.
Great
Stay
guys.
tuned. Keep up with him, and we will see you guys next time.
Kill 'em.
See you on the other side. Fantastic.
Shadowboxing when I heard you on the radio. I just don't know what made you forget that I was raw. But now I got a new